There is no quarterback controversy in Morgantown. We're talking about that and much, much more on the Voice of Morgantown show. Let's get it.
I'm following like Voice of Morgantown and like
Sure.
What's up, West Virginia fans? My name's Brad Smith. I'm here with my man, Bernie Mac. Bernie, we're talking, we don't want to be repetitive. That's the last thing in the world we want to do. But I still see so much controversy on social media about West Virginia's quarterback situation. A lot of people are still saying that Jalen Henderson and Nico Marchiol are engaged in this quarterback controversy, that it could go either way. And you and I just don't believe that to be true, right, man?
Not at all. I don't know why people are romanticizing Jalen Henderson. We haven't seen him play at West Virginia, right? We've seen Nico play. I've said it before on the show. I think it's people thinking of his athletic ability. He's going to be like a Pat White 2.0 or Jarrett Brown 2. Just stop. You gotta let Nico do Nico. Getting old.
Yeah. I put this graphic up earlier on social media today. There's no quarterback controversy at WVU. Quarterback one's offers out of high school: Colorado, Florida State, Florida, Georgia, Michigan State, LSU, Michigan, Penn State, and USC. That is, of course, Nico Marchiol. And quarterback two is Jalen Henderson: Air Force, Army, Boise State, Bucknell, Colorado State, Georgetown, Fresno State, Louisville, and UCF. Obviously, those aren't terrible offers either, but Bernie, I think there's a real clear distinction here between the two, at least out of high school. And listen, guys, there are, of course, outliers where players who were not highly rated out of high school go on to have great careers in college and in the NFL. But listen, you're much more likely to be a solid starter in college in the NFL if you were highly rated out of high school.
Agreed. And, the thing that really bothers me is where's West Virginia's fan base's loyalty? I think that's the thing that's really getting to me the most, right? Like, why are they turning on Nico so quickly? Why is the press locally turning on Nico so quickly? Guy hasn't lost a game at West Virginia. He's stepped in really tough situations, proved himself time and time again. You go back to his high school film, right? Like, the guy's just a fierce competitor. What's your logic for trying to supplant him already as the starting quarterback before the season has even started and he's going into his first year as a starting quarterback? Make that make sense, West Virginia fan base, because I don't get it. You guys are all about loyalty. We're all mad when people leave our program, but you're turning on Nico before the guy even has an opportunity to be QB1 for one full year. Shut up. It's really irritating. Let the guy do his thing. Give him a chance. If he goes through 4 games and he plays like dog crap, then I could understand some rumblings. This guy's done nothing but be a loyal, fantastic Mountaineer. He's won all the games. He's played well. What are you complaining about? Stop it. Just stop it. You sound like idiots.
I couldn't have said it better, Bernie, to be honest, man. In terms of our media in the state of West Virginia, first of all, I don't know how anybody still listens to people covering the West Virginia Mountaineers after, not holding Neil Brown accountable for 6 seasons. But I think also we're in the business of getting clicks and views as well, Bernie, here at Voice of Morgantown. I think we do it better than anyone. I think some people in the offseason get a little desperate and need to create a story. And unfortunately, I think that's what's happening here. I don't truly believe that anyone in the West Virginia media believes that Jalen Henderson's going to start over Nico Marchiol. But, it's a story. It creates interest. And unfortunately, Nico Marchiol has to suffer from that.
But you know what? That it's so bad, Brad, right? And this is
Yep.
where we always run into people in our fan base that we give fair weather fans, whatever you want to call it, right? Like I just saw somebody post a comment, "Oh, we weren't impressed by him yet." Dude, Neil Brown was his coach. You can't be impressed by anybody when Neil Brown's your coach because you're automatically going to be coached less than you are as a player, which is what we saw with Garrett Green. So that argument does not hold up. So save that BS for somebody else. Now think of this, West Virginia. What if Nico comes out and has a Heisman-worthy year? All of you that are now turning on him before the guy's even had an opportunity to stay, you think he's going to stay at West Virginia? Use your heads. Be a good fan. Be a good West Virginia alumni. Stop making this guy regret coming to West Virginia after he's done nothing but protect and serve West Virginia football. It is such a fickle mindset by our fan base, and honestly, it's pathetic. Grow up, people.
It is, and I've heard these same arguments, Bernie. You and I obviously have a major disdain for Neil Brown, but I don't think anybody can doubt that he held back players with his conservative philosophy, his conservative offense. And Nico Marchiol, when he was brought in last year, first of all, he was 4-0 in those games and really carried the team on his back. But the games where he came in, Neil Brown even admitted he did not have the same offense for Nico Marchiol as he did for Garrett Green. And I think people took that as, well, Nico Marchiol isn't as talented as Garrett Green, or he isn't as capable. No, Neil Brown is a terrible judge of talent. We've seen that over and over again. And so I think I'm shocked, Bernie, that our fans are still listening to the nonsense that Neil Brown spewed for 6 years.
Right. I totally agree. And again, I mean, when you look at what Nico is going to be able to do under Rich Rod knows he has a very stable QB base, right? Like, God forbid something happens to Nico. So he doesn't have to worry about keeping him bundled up as the season goes on, because it's going to be a long and rough season. We see it all the time, right? Players get beat up. He's just going to let Nico go out and be Nico. And if he needs to get some rest, if we're up a few touchdowns in a game, he knows he has a really good backup QB in Jalen Henderson. That's great. But people turning on Nico before Nico even has a chance to show what he could do under a new offensive mind, new defense backing you up with Zach Alley, that's just you're creating a talking point for nothing. And it's really unfair to Nico, and it's unfair to the program, because Nico has done nothing but be a supportive teammate and a great Mountaineer, and y'all are just turning on him already, which is, it shows a lack of character from our fan base, quite honestly, and it's disappointing.
100% agree. And we're not Jalen Henderson haters, guys. I hope you understand that. Jalen Henderson is coming in, and from everything I've heard, is working his ass off to be great and to do everything he can. I just don't understand people anointing him as our next starting quarterback. Obviously, if Nico Marchiol goes down, we want Jalen Henderson to come in and be fantastic. I'm glad that this Garth Vader man on X is here with us, because I think he's encapsulating a lot of the, I don't want to say moronic statements that I've heard on social media. We've seen Nico and aren't impressed. That's the problem. Yeah, he's played bad in one game. He plays with heart, low skill. I mean, wow. It's baffling, man. People say that he played bad in those games. He was the starting quarterback and won those games. And again, Neil Brown did not let him be Nico Marchiol. So I hear a lot of that. Maybe we'll just have to wait, and these people will have to see what Nico Marchiol does this season in order to start to believe. Garth again said, low quarterback rating, low accuracy, dump off passes, not fast. No facts here, Bernie. I've seen the 40-yard dashes, the mile-per-hour runs that the quarterbacks run. Nico Marchiol was, I think it was like 1/10 of a second slower than Garrett Green last year. He's a very, very quick, very fast quarterback. Not only that, but he runs over people. So I don't know, man. The things that people are saying are crazy.
Well, and again, right, like Garth was one of the people that I was looking at his comments, and Garth, you're just spewing nonsense, man. Everything you're saying right now is not based in reality. You're just not. So unless you've played football, which please share if you have, and you followed as much as what we've seen with Nico, you just don't know what you're talking about right now, because again, Nico hasn't had a chance to be himself, be a starter for multiple games, be comfortable, have an opened up offense for him. I mean, anybody could complain about dump off passes because that's what Neil Brown did 90% of the time.
Yes.
How often do we see him throw the ball down the field last year? How often do we complain about that? That was the bland crap Neil Brown offense. Don't pin that stuff on Nico. Nico has done nothing but work hard, try and get better. He's a proven winner from high school to college. I want Jalen Henderson to be great too, but I want Nico to be great and have his time in the sun this year and do what he's earned. And that's be the starting quarterback for the Mountaineers with the Mountaineer fan base behind him. Causing all this stuff right now does nothing to help his confidence. It does nothing to help him as a player and an individual. And y'all are going to piss him off. And he's going to leave, if he does have a great season, to go somewhere where he's appreciated. He shouldn't have to prove himself through a great season when he's already proven himself under a crap coach. Y'all are just being ridiculous. It is so stupid to see some of these comments.
One more comment from Garth, man, before we both throw up here. Going to root for WV no matter what, but just anointing a starter because he's been here is so pathetically weak. And then you got to throw in the LOL, of course. Again, we're not just anointing him just because he was here. Dude, he proved himself. He is 4-0 as a starter, and he had Neil Brown as his head coach. I'm not sure what else he could have done to prove himself and to earn that spot. John Waters over on YouTube. Thanks. If you're on YouTube, guys, right now, please go ahead and hit the like button, hit subscribe. We are giving away those season tickets for two of our lucky subscribers, or one lucky subscriber, 2 tickets. So please hit subscribe if you haven't already. Hit like. John Waters said Nico is pretty tough and he has the will to win and will sacrifice all to get a win. If you saw him in college, or in high school, and even with the Mountaineers over the last couple of years, yes, that is who he is. He is a winner. He is someone who is going to go out and do everything he can to win games.
Right. And I mean, think of this too, right, Brad? Like, he went 4-0 under a terrible head coach, right? Very limited playbook and a terrible defense. Right? Nobody's factoring in how different this team is going to look this year with Zach Alley running the defense, where all the pressure isn't going to consistently be on the offense. So what happens when you play loose and free? You play better, because you know if you make a mistake, your defense is going to be able to back you up and bail you out on occasion, right? So you're going to be a little looser. You're going to throw the ball downfield, try and hit a hard fade. Any of that stuff. This team is not going to look like the team we've had to suffer through for the last 6 years. And again, I'm not faulting any of the players that stuck around or whatever the case may be. But the reality is, we know what we got with Neil Brown. We know what we're going to get with Rich Rod and the accountability factor. Everybody's going to level up from having Rich Rod, Zach Alley, and the supporting assistant coaches coaching this team this year. And you're going to be better for it. I mean, it's just going to be a completely different team to watch. So the fact that Nico was able to go 4-0 last year, considering our total win count, what are you guys complaining about? Like, I don't get it. I really don't get it.
Neil Brown was obviously too loyal to certain players. Jarrett Deggy, we saw it. Garrett Green. I mean, in terms of him holding players back, just think about if we had Nico Marchiol as our starting quarterback last year with Garrett Green out in the slot. Not only would it have prepared Garrett Green for the NFL, which he is now a slot receiver, or trying to be a slot receiver for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but it also would have gotten Nico Marchiol more playing time. And I believe we would have won a lot more games. And Neil Brown may still have had a job in Morgantown if he would have had a little bit more foresight, man.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, guys, remember David Sills, right? Yeah. I mean, that guy was like recruited to be a quarterback in 8th grade by Lane Kiffin at USC, and you look at what he did in transitioning and knowing he couldn't be a QB. So he went off and became a very successful, I guess he was one of our most successful wide receivers, and he did make some NFL rosters, and unfortunately his career hasn't gone the way he could, but still, I mean, just think of that factor. And I think that's a good point, right? And I'm convinced, and I've said it before on the show, and Neil Brown ruined Garrett Green last year. He totally ruined him. if you look at Garrett Green, the way he was when Neil Brown was just letting him be Garrett because maybe he was thinking like, maybe he'll get hurt. I don't really care, whatever the case was. That's when Garrett was his best. He bottled him up last year, didn't want him to run as much. He didn't have as many scramble plays in the book for him, and it ruined his season. We went from talking about Garrett Green being a Heisman candidate to, just falling into mediocrity throughout the season under Neil Brown, putting him as QB1. So, and we've seen that time and time again, right? Like, it's not even just Garrett Green. We could highlight several different people that have left the program because of Neil Brown player development. So it's just not going to be the case this year. And I'm excited for Nico. I would encourage everybody from a fan base perspective to just stop the nonsense, because I really want you to think about, if Nico has a fantastic year, he's going to come back to this point in the season when y'all are turning on him and creating this chatter. And are we going to be mad if he goes somewhere else and gets a boatload of money? Because at the end of the day, loyalty is what keeps you at a program you love. And if he gets thrown a bunch of money, where's the loyalty going to be when you guys are turning on him when he's been nothing but loyal now? Think about that. Because in my opinion, if I'm Nico, that's how I'd be feeling. The only people defending him consistently are the people on this show. And it's pathetic. And I would say the same thing to our fellow press corps people. That's, part of the hillbilly mafia in West Virginia. It's just it's ridiculous. You just stop toting the damn school line or whatever it is. Just support the players, man. I'm tired of it.
It's shocking that we have to even defend someone who has been nothing but loyal and who has done nothing but great things in West Virginia. But that's where we're at, Bernie, unfortunately. In terms of Garrett Green, I mean, and just to go back a little bit to if he were playing in the slot last year, Garrett Green did his best work in the open field. He was a very, very slippery player. Imagine Nico Marchiol throwing one of those little, as our viewer said, dump off passes to Garrett Green in the open. Garrett Green would have been amazing. Would have been unstoppable in college in that role. And again, Neil Brown chose not to go that route.
Yeah, I mean, some of the most successful slot receivers in NFL history have had the same skill set as Garrett Green. And, I would say he needs to bulk up a little bit, but if you look at his skill set, there's no reason he couldn't have been a good fit in that position last year if he would have given the opportunity. And I think the last year before, God, I don't remember the guy that came from Georgia. He's slipping my mind.
JT Daniels.
Yeah. So when Daniels was there, they did roll Green out into the slot a few times, and he was pretty electric. I would have liked if Garrett was supportive of it. Obviously, in my opinion, he earned the opportunity to start. Maybe they could have even run a QB, like 2 QB system. But at the end of the day, right, like he wants to set himself up for being in the NFL, and that's what he's pursuing now. But again, as a coach, that's the conversation Neil Brown should have had with Garrett Green. And if he could have gotten Garrett Green's support, then that's the pathway they should have created with Garrett Green. But again, it's Neil Brown, and I'm going to continue to say it. I will say it over and over again. He is the worst football coach in our program's history. I stand by that. Anybody that defends it, feel free to come on the show, and I'll have a nice conversation with you, but you're not going to change my mind.
I know a lot of you are watching the show later, but if you are here live with us right now, we would love to hear you on our call text line. You can call or text us at 304-315-4443. That's 304-315-4443. We can bring you on the show. If we get some haters, that's okay. If we get some people that are trolling, that's okay. We'd love to hear from you guys. John Waters is my guy over on YouTube, man. He's had some great comments today. In this offense, I think Nico will thrive. You don't have to be super fast, just willing to run, and he is. I think that's a great point. I think a lot of people are thinking that you have to be like a 4.2, 4.3, 40 guy to run Rich Rodriguez's offense, and that's simply not the case. It's really more about being a winner, being able to run through the tackles, and getting the job done. And I personally believe that Nico Marchiol is the perfect person to run this offense. Not only that, but he runs over people, man.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, we've said it before. I could see him being a Tim Tebow-esque type of player, but with a better arm. And Tebow, I mean, to his credit, he had a terrible throwing motion, but he was really accurate in college. I mean, he had a pretty high completion percentage. So, look, Tebow did some great things, man. National championships, Heisman Trophy winner. That's a pretty darn good comparison for me to see with Nico. And I mean, the work he's put in the offseason and his body change, how he's bulked up and really just put a lot of work in the weight room. I'm excited to see him this year.
100%. Brandon over on YouTube said, winning games ends all debates. That's the only thing that will. And I totally agree. And I think that it will end the debates when Nico leads this team to a much better record than is expected. I think, people will start jumping on the bandwagon after we're 3-0 after the Pitt game. The media people will start saying that they were never against Nico, but we've got the receipts, right, man?
Exactly. And that's what we're just talking about. We've said it before. The local media does not challenge when it doesn't suit what the program feels it should be going toward. And we've seen that with Neil Brown. Neil Brown always got softball questions. Nobody ever challenged his decision-making. That cost us games. I just don't see that happening this year. I think we're going to see the same situation where they're going to win. People are going to get in line and say, oh, yeah, we did this and this. But you know what? You lose all credibility. Unfortunately, that's where a lot of the press in West Virginia is right now.
Brandon Riffle said Rodney Gallagher was misused under Brown. Let me ask you this, Brandon, and everyone else watching. Who did Brown use correctly? Is there anybody that he used correctly? Bernie, your thoughts, man? Rodney Gallagher, I think, is in for a big year as well.
I totally agree, and I agree with your statement. I don't think he used any of our skill set players. I mean, Jaheim White excelled even without Neil Brown, but I'm really excited to see what White's going to be doing in this new offense. And I think all the players that we've recruited in are going to be fantastic, but I'm really excited to see a guy like Rodney Gallagher live up to the potential. And he's set in on X, they're working their tail off and he's being challenged like he hasn't been challenged before, and it's going to make him a better player. And that, again, coaching goes a long way in this league, and I'm really excited to see him have a breakout season.
Lots of really great comments on YouTube right now, guys. Thank you so much for bringing them in. Arizona Gunslinger, that's Nico Marchiol, guys. So some really, really positive news that we got yesterday, Bernie, out of, I'm sorry, I pulled up the wrong one there. Some really, really great news out of Nevada. A Nevada federal judge has granted a preliminary injunction to JUCO transfer Cortez Bram. And this is in regards to the NCAA's 5-year eligibility rule. This is a major win for athletes, and recent NCAA victories against Giles and on appeal against these. Well, there's certain players here that were not granted this eligibility. The reason this is such big news for us, guys, is because we have 4 players who we're kind of up in the air right now. We have Jamori Robinson, Ty Edwards, Justin Harrington, and Jeff Weimer, who they're right now just not sure if they're eligible to play. I think yesterday's news was a really, really positive thing for them because there is a precedent now that a judge could go back and say, hey, in Nevada they ruled that, and this was a federal judge who ruled this way. That Cortez Bram, who ironically enough played at West Virginia for 2 years and back in 2022, he's eligible to play at UCLA, and his history is very similar to Jamori Robinson and Ty Edwards and Justin Harrington. All 4 of those players played at the JUCO ranks, and so it looks like if they're not granted eligibility, that they could go back and say, well, why was Cortez Bram granted eligibility and we were not?
Yeah, no, I mean, legally that's huge to have a precedent to compare against. So the fact that this ruling came out now is great for us. But you know what? Every time I think I have the NCAA and their rules figured out, it bites us in the rear end. And we've seen it so many times, specifically with basketball, where we just don't understand the judgments that come down. So I really hope that they're going to do the right thing. But again, you just never know. It always seems that West Virginia specifically always gets the short end of the stick in this situation. So I'm hoping that's not the case.
Yeah. The federal judge, here's what they basically said. The federal judge in Nevada said, the court agrees with Braham that the relevant market is NCAA Division I college football, as it is the sole pathway to NFL opportunities, and participation provides unique benefits, including NIL compensation, which are not available elsewhere, including at the JUCO level. And so what he's essentially saying is that these players did not have the right to, or did not have the opportunity to earn the same opportunity, the same chance to go to the NFL if they started their career at the JUCO ranks. So I love that this is an opportunity for those 4 players for WVU to, and in my opinion, I think they're going to be eligible now.
Fingers crossed, my man. They're key components to the team this year. We really can't afford to lose any of them. So hopefully they all come in together.
Absolutely. Okay, so James Gregory over on YouTube said, where do you think we have more threat, running or passing? I think it's going to be a balanced attack, man. I think we've got Nico, who people have said that he can't throw downfield. Did you watch the Arizona game? I mean, did you watch the Cincinnati game? He was throwing downfield. He was throwing darts downfield multiple times. And so for people that say that he can't throw, again, I guess he's just going to have to go out and have to prove it again this year.
Yep, totally agree. It's just so weird to have these conversations before season even started with a guy that went 4-0 and has just been a fantastic ambassador for the program. I just can't figure that part out. But I do agree it's going to be a very balanced attack. I mean, look, Jaheim White, he's put a ton of work in the offseason as well. I think he is primed for an epic year if he could stay healthy. So I think, that's probably going to be a key focus for Rich Rod too, is making sure that he uses them, he gets them in the game, but he's going to want to keep them safe as well. But we do have a deep running back pool as well. So I think it's going to be firing on all cylinders offensively because we have key backups and we have the depth needed to be successful where we haven't had that before. Maybe not as much on the offensive line as I would have liked, but I mean, from a running back and skill set position, I think we're pretty good.
Yep. I do want to say hi to one of the all-time good people in the state of West Virginia online, Joey Foster. He said, howdy, let's go Mountaineers. Hey, Brad. Yeah, so Joey Foster, one of my favorite people that I've met, a good friend of mine, and an awesome Mountaineer fan. So, hey, Joey. Bernie, tonight, West Virginia, our alumni team, is competing in the regional championship after beating, heard that the other night. What's your thoughts on West Virginia? Are we going to win tonight? Or do we have an opportunity to win this whole thing?
Dude, they keep playing the way they're playing. They have an opportunity to win the whole thing. I think they have a pretty dangerous team, and obviously Trey Mitchell has just been fantastic. But the whole team is playing solid. KD and I mean, they're gelling, and I think it's pretty cool to watch. So I think they've got a shot. I would love to see them take it all the way.
I've had a little bit of a different reaction to TBT this year into West Virginia. To me, when they first started, it was 12 players from West Virginia, and now it seems like we have like 4 players. You got old John Flowers sitting on the bench, and then you've got like 7 randos. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Has a little of the luster worn off, or is that just for me?
I think we haven't. If you think of like some of the more prominent players throughout the years, those are few and far between. You know what I mean? Like some of the big names or names that you'd remember had really impactful games for West Virginia. Those names have dwindled over the years. I mean, it's unfortunate, but it's just kind of where we are. And with the NIL the way it is, you have these guys that are maybe coming in a year and then they're gone. So, long are the days of Kalichla and Nathan Adrian and, the old school guys like Kevin Jones, John Flowers, Flowers is still one of my favorite players of all times. I'll never forget him doing the Irish jig when we beat Notre Dame. It was so cool. But
one of your favorites, one of my least favorites, but we'll discuss that later.
But yeah, so I think that's why you're not seeing a lot of the prominent names. I do agree with you though. I'd like to see more West Virginia alumni, but quite honestly, we've had so much turnover, it's tough to pin.
I mean, do you think that we can't get 12 former West Virginia players to come back, or maybe they're just prioritizing these other players who they feel like would help West Virginia win more?
I think a lot of them are probably pursuing things overseas, European League and things like that, like some are more prominent and better ones. And we do have the ones that, look, you see what Javon Small just did in his game for Memphis the other day. I mean, he went off and had a hell of a game. And, a lot of these guys are still pursuing their NBA dream. So I think a lot of the players are kind of scattered in time commitments and other things, but I don't think they're doing it to stack the team. I think they're doing it with who's available, and then you got to fill the roster.
Nice. Yeah, so best of luck to West Virginia tonight. We'll, of course, be rooting them on. Bernie, anything else before we bounce, buddy?
No, man. I know we've gotten a lot of comments about the top 10 Morgantown pizza list. I love that list. So, or top 10 West Virginia. I shouldn't say Morgantown.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to have that list evolve a little bit over the years, too. And we'll have some more fun lists coming out throughout the season before it starts. But no, just look, I'll say it again. Everybody get behind this team right now. There's no reason not to be. So stop being naysayers and just be supportive of the kids that are working their tails off right now. Get ready for what should be a very memorable West Virginia football season.
There is no quarterback controversy in Morgantown. Stop. Come on, guys. Everybody have a great day. Let's go Mountaineers.
I'm following like voice of Morgantown and like
sure.